Today then we're looking at the GFX100S II. If the GFX100 is the dream big camera for some of us, maybe this is the more sensible, realistic option. Yeah, we're going to look at it up close. We're also testing the 20 to 35, which we're shooting this on now, the 45 to 100, I think that's right, and the 500 when the weather holds up. So as we do, jump in and out of the frame in the intro so we can see how the video autofocus is faring, and that does not seem to be doing the job. There we go, it's got it. These things are getting better, but of course for such a large sensor, etc., it's never going to be up to the standards that the internet wants. But I think this is doing a fine job. But let's look at it deeper. Yeah, let's crack on. Well, it feels as I'd have hoped. Now I got really excited by the big brother to this, and this actually doesn't feel that dissimilar. We've got that nice Bishaman Tex or Bishaman Tex body coating that I liked. We've got that nice grip at the back, so you've got a bit to handle there, but it doesn't feel that big considering what it's packing. 102 megapixel CMOS 2 sensor, X processor 5, 7 frames continuous burst. We've got this EVF, which is fixed, of course, not like the other camera. 5.76 million dots, magnification 0.84 times. There's 8-stop IBIS in this thing. It only weighs 883 grams. If you've come from the DSLR world, for example, this won't be too dissimilar to that experience. Weather resistance, of course, in this. We'll have a quick run through of what's behind the doors. We've got SD card slots. We've got a remote port there. Over here, we've got the mic and, well, full-size mic and headphone jack. We've got the smaller HDMI, unfortunately, in this. We've got USB-C, which I believe can actually not only charge, etc., but can do external recording, which is pretty cool. We might mention that later. We've got the 235 battery. I'll let you know how I get on with the battery life, all being well. I tend to get way over the CEPA ratings lately. But yeah, pretty cool. On the top, we've got the PSAM dial. I do like the C modes, to be fair. They are very handy, and we've got 6 of them with this one. So that's pretty cool. On this side, we've got a few customizable buttons, and on the front as well. And you can also customize some of these to your desire. Of course, no D-pad anymore. Joypad is absolutely fine. And yeah, it's nice. That, I'm glad that's there. The focus modes, that is pretty cool. Now we can turn the light on and off on this panel. This sub LCD can actually be inverted, so it's black with white writing. I've set it that way for now, but you can scroll through it once we turn it on. You can scroll through what it's displaying there, and you can also set what you want the standard display to be. I need to charge this battery up. Now the back is pretty much business as usual. Menus, business as usual. If you've used Fujifilm gear, you know exactly how that runs. That's basically the overview. There's a whole load of specs for this thing, but just a quick hands-on with it and up close so you can see what's what. You know, it's a big black box, but I think it's quite nice. I mean, it's not particularly cool looking, but it's not supposed to be. It's a serious bit of kit, but doesn't feel too hefty considering what it's packing. Yeah, let's see how we get on with it then. putting my preference for smaller gear aside, I love shooting with this camera. It kind of feels like the DSLR size and weight that I worked weddings and the like with many years ago for quite a while. And yeah, with a bit of that Fujifilm mirrorless aesthetic, of course. Now, most of the lenses are much larger, which is annoyingly understandable. Now, I do absolutely love that EVF. The controls are basically where I need them. The thing is built like a tank. I do miss the D-pad in fairness, but I love that grip and the texture. It'll be interesting to see how that fares after a couple of years of serious use. Battery life is always an interesting one to mention. Older battery, let's say, but it's spot on. I'm getting around 1,000 shots, mixed raw, movie, IBIS, boost mode, and that's even using tracking and 7-burst shooting with a big lens like this 500mm with OIS on. And with this lens, on one of the days testing it, I had to delete about 400 shots off the camera about halfway through the day. Don't ask, that's probably one for another day. So, you know, if a review says 520 shots or less, they probably haven't used the camera enough and are just quoting the official rating. It's probably best to not trust a reviewer that hasn't used the camera enough. Yeah, anyway. In movie mode, the autofocus could be better. Depending on the lens, it's still very usable for the basics. In stills, I'm happy with the autofocus, right up to tracking moving subjects where the camera does struggle. We're definitely seeing improvements over the previous generations though. IBIS 2 is improved. It's not up to the X series standards just yet, but you know, very good performance again, particularly with this monster, the 500mm. But before we get to the samples with that lens, we're going to take a look at just a few from my time with this mini monster, the 45-100. ISO performance is superb, dynamic range excellent. Of course, if you go too wild, you can lose on the color side, but there's so much to play with here for any half decent photographer to enjoy. Even a pro can knock something out on the camera, end up with an almost black looking file, and more often than not rescue it with this sensor, especially if you're shooting black and white. Now the camera provides that, dare I say it, that extra pop, and that's with most of the lenses I've tried, that immersive look, and the colors are extremely good, very malleable. In fact, even with a less inspiring lens like the 45-100, you can get excellent images. But what about something a bit more exotic then? Our final samples are with this monster, the 500mm. We absolutely loved the Big Brother GFX100 II, but for over £2 less, I'd say this is a very, very good compromise. At the time of recording, it's actually reduced to £4,599, and there's a trade-in bonus on top of that. So Fujifilm clearly looking to increase the user base and push on with this lineup. Now, a camera like this Sony a7R5 is arguably an option, but this camera beats it hands down for image quality. And if that's your ultimate goal, which more or less it always should be, this is the one. Unless you need the extra speed and video features of the GFX100 II, of course. So this is the dream camera for most of us, the more realistic dream. Although that GFX100 II is another level of dreaming altogether. It's a lot of dreaming going on. Let us know if you've used this camera, and I'll see you in the comments.